And hello and welcome to episode 16 of A Few Good Mics. It's Sunday night, July 9th. Back from the holiday weekend. Nate, how was your holiday?
Well, it was good, only except 4th of July falling on a Tuesday really fucking sucks. I mean, seriously, you go to work Monday, you probably drink few hundred beers or whatever, and you hung over on 4th of July. Then you have the terrible thought that shit, I gotta go to work on Wednesday. Like it's just, I hate 4th of July on Tuesdays. We're supposed to be celebrating America, and having 4th of July on Tuesday is no way to celebrate America. That's what I got on it. What about you?
Every holiday should land on a weekend.
Or a Monday, because that way you have your weekend and then you get that day off, and then
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. At least you get a 3-day weekend out of it.
Right.
But I had to work anyway, so not like it matters. So as you can see or hear, rolling with the two-man crew this week. Garb and Mike decided to bitch out this week. Decided not to show up.
No texts, no Snapchats, no nothing. Just completely absentee voters. You know, they're just like the Democrats in the election. Just didn't show up.
Yeah, and so we'll just have to run the show without him this week. We'll see how this one goes. We'll start off. The only thing the last couple of weeks really to talk about is the NBA free agency that started last week. Saw Gordon Hayward going to the Celtics. Got Paul George getting traded to Oklahoma City. See which. I'll ask you first. Which signing or trade really stands out for you, right from the top?
Well, I mean, I think Paul George to OKC sticks out a little bit more. Just because, I mean, you have the connection. I mean, Gordon Hayward played with, or excuse me, Brad Stevens was Gordon Hayward's coach at Butler. So, I mean, that's kind of, I mean, I kind of saw that as almost a no-brainer for him because, I think the Celtics are maybe one piece or two pieces away from, getting close to LeBron. I'm not going to say beating LeBron because that's just like not going to happen in the East with just a white guy named Gordon Hayward. No disrespect, he's a hell of a player, but he played for the Jazz. Let's be honest. I mean, they're a good team. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Paul George going to OKC definitely was eye opening because first off, everyone projected him going to LA. Everyone projected him going to Cleveland. Everyone projected him going to this big name market, and he goes to OKC and put teams up with Westbrook. And I think a lot of these Lakers fans were like, ha 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 ha, he's gonna go play with the big baller nation down in LA next year. I think they're gonna be a little surprised. He signed a 1-year deal with OKC. I don't think it's definite that he goes to the Lakers, and I don't think that any Laker fan should be like to be honest with you, the Lakers are a lot like the Pacers are or were with Paul George. Who else you have? You have Monte Ellis. Like who else did you really have on that roster that was dominant? And Alonzo, obviously. If you read my column from today on the website, you can see how I don't think he's going to be great in the league. But if you really want to read up on why I think that way, you can take it to afewgoodmics.com, and I'll tell it like it is. But in conclusion, I think the Paul George trade signing was the better signing of the two.
Yeah, I think it's more interesting. I think OKC still has even farther to go to catch up to Golden State, even than Boston to catch up to Cleveland. But it'll be interesting because obviously Westbrook needed that second guy, obviously since Kevin Durant left, and now I don't know. I you can't commit to Paul George staying long term, which is I still think he ends up in LA. Obviously after this next season, but he could end up staying. But it all depends on Westbrook if he signs. But Gordon Hayward to Boston, I just not buying the hype that they're all of a sudden title contenders now. So
Yeah.
I still think they're not that close to Cleveland. I don't think they're that much better than Washington or Toronto at this point. And shit, I think Milwaukee with Giannis, Giannis is better than both Isaiah Thomas and Gordon Hayward. So I don't think you can count them out either.
No, I think Utah's always done it with Utah really hasn't had what I would consider a large threat player. They don't really. They're a bunch of average players on one team. They average their 15, 16 points a game, and they make it work in the end. They play great defense. They do all that. But I think as far as Utah, he's never really been. He's kind of been their main guy. He gets a little bit closer to 20, 23 a game. Compared to the rest of his guys, I think Utah is just one of your more, divided teams. Okay, you got Shelvin Mack got his 15. The other guys got their 15. I just think the Utah is more of a team-oriented, and I think that's going to be a wake-up call because I think Gordon Hayward is going to kind of have to take a leadership role with Isaiah Thomas in Boston. I think that's going to be a wake-up call for him because, when you're playing against LeBron, when you're playing against Milwaukee, when you're playing against, teams like that, or in Toronto, that, have been kind of the dominant teams in the East. And, we saw Boston not even barely get by the Bulls. It was by a slim thread. The Bulls were what I would consider mediocre last year, and they're going to be even more dismal this year without Jimmy Butler. So, that's the way I kind of look at it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's I think the East, just as Cleveland hasn't done really anything, and I guess in the end that could not really matter just because you got LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love, but with all the dysfunction going around, all the talk that this could be LeBron's last year in Cleveland, I don't know, it could take a toll on people. So it's either, and LeBron's not going to be LeBron forever, so you got to think it's coming soon, right?
Yeah, I would say next 2-3 years, honestly. He's not, this is kind of a not great comparison, but you saw, when Jordan played for the Bulls for all those years, got out of the league, played baseball, did what he needed to do, and then goes back on the Wizards. And it's like, all right, what happened to Michael? He was a good player when he was with the Wizards, but he wasn't the Michael Jordan we all know and love. Not saying yes. LeBron's gonna, be pulling a Tebow and oh shit, I'm gonna totally switch sports, go baseball, and maybe come back to the NBA later. But you gotta think that 2-3 years from now, we're all gonna be like, yeah, LeBron James, not elite anymore, but he's not the youngest guy in the world.
But yeah, until that happens, you're not going to bet against him. So
nope.
That's the only thing. I bet I made that mistake last year, and my team got swept. So and then
thought Toronto was going all the way. This was their year.
I thought they'd lose to Golden State. I thought they had a chance against Cleveland, but LeBron just shut them up for good.
He said, "Cleveland, this is for you."
Gosh. But all right, we'll switch on to the next free agent topic here. So who do you saw all the deals, all the money being tossed around? The most overpaid guy so far.
Well, I think we saw this. Was this yesterday? Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah, that was mine.
Was that 4 years, $71 million for the guy that shit, I didn't even know he was still on an NBA roster, to be quite honest with you. I think he was your most overpaid guy. I would say I can't really come back to me on the underpaid guy because I think there was a few that I could kind of narrow down. But
yeah, I mean overpaid. Like, geez, I think that Tim Hardaway Jr. He had a nice end of the year last year, but I mean, this is just that no one was off. Like, from what I read, the Hawks were only going to offer 4 years, 48, and then the Knicks come in and
yeah,
offer 71. And
well, the Knicks are about the most irrelevant team in the NBA right now. It's just a
they're
dysfunctional bunch of pieces of shit.
just a garbage organization. But it's like the shit. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I was
Were you
gonna
thinking about the underrated or most underpaid?
well, underpaid. Oh no, I was back to Hardaway Jr. I was thinking I'll defend the Knicks like this way just by saying because he's a restricted free agent. Usually, got to overpay those guys just to give the other team like sort of pause about like keeping the player that obviously you want. But still, that's if that was like a $20-some million difference. Yikes! That just even puts further proof into what the Knicks are this coming around.
See, I always thought the bad team in New York was always the Nets, and now my philosophy has totally switched with after not even just that, but I mean, why do they want to get rid of a guy like Porzingis? Like that guy, I remember when he got drafted, Knicks fans were just booing the shit out of that pick. And he came in there and
Yeah.
he has done a hell of a lot better than I expected, than I think every Knicks fan expected. It just blows my mind that was even on Phil Jackson's tongue that, yeah, I think we're going to get rid of Porzingis. I just,
that's what led to him getting fired. So
well,
that was like the final straw.
It just goes to show you can be a great professional coach in anything, but once you start stepping into that GM role, it's just like now, Bart Starr was one of the best Packers to ever play. Was he a great NFL coach? Absolutely not. He was horrible. It's just one of those things. Just because you step into a GM role and the Knicks, he has that name. What were the Knicks? I can't remember what the number was. They're paying him an absurd amount a day for how long he was with the Knicks.
They're paying him $12 million a year.
Yeah, but do the math. He was there 3 years, so he was making what? Exactly. I mean, you don't even need to do the math to put that together. But I don't know. It's just Knicks, you got a long ways ahead of you. I think my next article will rip the Knicks in like quarters and pieces. So figure it out, New York.
And then I'll go underpaid. I don't know like the numbers off the top of my head, but I'll go with the deal that was made today, and I'll throw in my bias answer here. Just when the Raptors made a trade yesterday, got rid of their small forward DeMarre Carroll, dump salary, so they got a hold of Phil. They agreed to a sign and trade to get CJ Miles from Indiana. If you remember him, he was the guy that missed the possible game winner against Cleveland last year.
That's right.
Got all pissy, but that's a different thing. It's a different conversation. But getting him for $8 million a year in this market, it's a pretty solid deal. Comes in, you get under the luxury tax. I think it's a good deal. Good deal all around for the Raptors today.
I definitely thought you were going to, for underpaid, I definitely thought you were going to say Patrick Patterson.
Oh shit! He was underpaid too.
Yeah, I know he's kind of your sixth man coming off the bench guy, but I mean,
he was.
that that guy just kind of came up out of nowhere, and I thought he was moderately underpaid. If I'm going to go back to the overpaid ones though, Otto Porter, like that's another one. It's like, all right, what the hell are you doing, Wizards? Like you have John Wall, you have Bradley Beal. Like I don't know. I just didn't understand that one at all.
It's one of those things. He's like same thing with Hardaway. It's like you're a restricted free agent. Brooklyn comes in, they offer the max deal to try to take him away, and then if you're the Wizards, if you let him walk, like what do you're already starving for depth and
well, it's like Mike
after your top two.
It's like Mike Conley last year.
You're just sort of forced into matching it. They could end up trading it for something later on, but like let's say if they want to end up trading it to try to OKC to get, I try like see, hey, Paul George, if you're not like if something like if that doesn't work out for OKC, just the Wizards say, hey, like we'll try to take Paul George and use the 6 months to try to convince him, but yeah, that's well, he overpaid, but considering the circumstances, I think that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I just look at the numbers, and I'm like, I've heard of the guy. I've watched him play a little bit, but it's not like the guy that I see on SportsCenter tossing up the highlight reels. And you know what I mean? Like, it's always Bradley Beal or John Wall or either one of those guys that's tossing up the highlight reels. That's guys never really. I don't think I've ever watched a full game of Washington Wizards basketball in my life, but might have to tune in. If they're going to be paying them that kind of money.
You should start tuning in. Watch more basketball.
Should.
Watch more regular season basketball. It's my
just tune in.
That's what
I think my goal next year is to watch one full game
of what?
Watch one whole game of every NBA team.
You should, man. See, I watch like every Raptors game, so I watch every team anyway, basically, at least one game. So
true. And I have NBA TV, so I might as well take advantage of it.
Exactly, dude. At least see the highlights if you can't watch the games. And I think I'll just move on to the next thing. The one deal that sort of like surprised me was that if you ended up checking out the blog and the website, thefugoodmics.com, I saw I posted some free agency predictions to start before it all started. And well, I was surprised that the Bucks were able to bring back Snell for only $12 million a year.
Yeah,
Nate, you might think that's high, but I don't know. I was expecting like 16, 17, but so
I thought 12. I would have probably said 10, but 12. They're within spitting distance of kind of. He was kind of a late season guy, kind of like. Not. I think he's better than Timmy Hardaway Jr., but kind of like a guy that just kind of came up out of nowhere. It's like, oh, now this guy's shooting. Now he's kind of a big time 3-point shooter. And I was thinking like 10-ish million a year, but 12 million. You gotta build the Bucks and build the newly acquired Wisconsin Herd. You got to do what you got to do.
Yep. Last year he was like they traded MCW for him, which I said right then and there they won the trade because Michael Carter Williams is straight garbage.
Still is,
and he sort of proved his worth like at the end of the year and in the playoffs against the Raptors. Like he's long, he's a good shooter, just sort of fits what they need. So you end up putting him alongside like Middleton and Giannis in that. He's gonna be good for them next year.
And then you got Bronson Koenig coming off the bench, draining 3-pointers.
I hope he makes the team. That'd be awesome.
He signed the first 2-way contract in Bucks history, so if anybody's curious, well, I actually saw an article on Bucks.com today stating what a two-way contract is. Two-way contract is so basically, obviously, they're playing two ways, but the player could spend up to 45 days as on the Bucks roster. So I mean, it's kind of like they who is Jaylen Brown was the other guy they signed the two-way contract aside from Bronson, but I mean that's a good way for Bronson because I think Bronson, I mean he can shoot lights out, no doubt he's a hell of a shooter, but I mean there's things he can work on, and I think staying in his home state, Wisconsin, is going to be pretty cool for him. Pretty cool for all us Badger fans. To just take the short drive up to Oshkosh and boom, you got get to watch another Badger. Now we're up from Madison. I mean, I think it'll be good for him, and I think the Bucks are getting a player that I thought was moderately underrated. I thought he should have at least been like tail end of the second round. And I mean, it's looking good.
Yeah, I think they'll have to make a trip to Oshkosh for at least one or two of their games this year.
Yeah.
It's only an hour and a half for me, so sure, I might as well.
Yep, might as well.
All right, so overall, you got any winners or losers from free agency?
Winners, I got to go with Timberwolves. Jimmy Butler, Taj Gibson, Jamal Crawford. I mean, really, Jimmy Butler, that's like huge. I mean, you got to think about who that team already has. You already have Wiggins. You already have Karl Anthony Towns. You got two guys that are 20-plus a game, 10-plus rebounds a game, and then you add Jimmy Butler. I just think the Timberwolves definitely won free agency, and it's good to see because I think this will actually boost. Been to a few Timberwolves games when I lived in Minnesota. This will actually boost Timberwolves tickets because I've seen that arena. It's maybe getting 12, 13,000, and it holds about 20. I mean, I think season ticket holders, Jimmy Butler's one of those guys that think season ticket holders will be like, yep, I want to see that kid play. Or, yep, I want to buy tickets to see Jimmy Butler. Zach LaVine wasn't cutting the cheese. I mean, they really, honestly, the Timberwolves won that trade fair and square. I mean, Butler gets to go back and play with Tibbs, and I think Timberwolves definitely were the winners in the free agency pool.
I'll agree with you there. They were big winners. So I'll pick something different though. I'll go with what the Houston Rockets did, getting Chris Paul put alongside James Harden. I think they got real predictable last year. Just said, hey, Harden, you're going to handle the ball like 15 out of every 24 seconds on the shot clock, and then just drive and kick, or either taking a layup or shooting a three. This sort of just adds a different dimension to their offense, and sort of like what Westbrook was in OKC. It just takes some more pressure off your star. So, and now they still have the money on their roster to try to go after a Carmelo Anthony. I think if they do that, they'll be even bigger winners.
Yeah, I think if they land Melo, Houston's kind of one of those teams that Houston obviously they made the playoffs last year. They're not a becoming team, but add a guy like Melo, that would just complete, I think, their roster. So
yeah. You got any losers?
No, Knicks. Gonna keep trashing them. It's just one of those things to kind of see them. You pay Tim Hardaway Jr. a ton of money for really, not much bang for your buck. And I think to actually, I don't know. I think there are probably bigger losers, but just one of those things that just to kind of have the winners. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. is like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I hear you. I'll go with my losers. I'll go with shit losers. I'll go with yeah. I agree with once again. I agree with you on the Knicks, but trying to go with someone different. I'll go with the Miami Heat, just because they went for Hayward and they struck out, and then they just overpaid their own free agents. I mean, I was fine with giving Dion Waiters that money because, I mean, he's sort of now your go-to scorer, I guess. But giving James Johnson $15 million a year just because he had one good year, and giving Kelly Olynyk $50 million. So I mean, they don't have any cap room to do anything else. And next, they've sort of taken themselves out of the running for free agents the next couple of years. So I don't know. I just don't really get what they were trying to do this summer.
Yeah, I don't really understand what they were trying to do either. It's just one of those things that they just kind of did. But
I trust Pat Riley, I guess, if you're a Heat fan.
yeah, and they were so sold on getting Gordon Hayward. You read the blogs, you read the articles, they're like Gordon Hayward's going to Miami. I'm just like, he's gonna go to the Celtics. I mean, Gordon Hayward, does he come off as kind of a Miami guy? Like let's go party on South Beach. Like, does he just come off as that kind of guy? I mean,
Well, I don't
I
know
think
when you spend your whole adult life in Indiana and Utah. I mean, I wouldn't really put it past anybody to want to move to Miami.
I get it, but it's like the two extremes. Like you go from the cornfields of Indiana to the Mormonism of Utah. Um, I mean, I don't see him pounding and being in clubs, pounding bottles of Ciroc and Grey Goose, and partying like a rock star. It's Boston's just seemed like a better fit for him. I mean, that's just I don't know. That's just me. I don't think Gordon Hayward is a big partier like you might see James Harden showing up to a club right after he fucking lost last year?
I think so, yeah.
It was like immediately after he lost, he fucking showed up at a club, and it's like, yeah.
So, got anything else you want to talk about for free agency? What's happened the last few weeks?
I mean, one thing that kind of surprised me is, or a couple things. Mainly one thing. Mavs re-signed Dirk for only like, what is it, $5 million a year? Is that what I saw?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw some little summary of what Steph Curry's made in his career, or what he's made off this contract compared to what Dirk's made in his career. And it's just like bizarre because I think Steph's only on with this new contract he got is like only like 40 million behind Dirk is what he's made in his entire career, which I find bizarre because I feel like Dirk has always been kind of a top 10 player, always been a big time shooter, and always kind of been the leader of the Mavs. So I mean, that just kind of shocks me that Cuban hasn't really paid him more, and now he's getting. I get he's 38 years old, but I mean, I saw Jamal. Here's the thing. I saw was it Jamal Crawford, I think, signed for about right around the same with what Dirk signed for. And personally, I would rather have Dirk at 38 than Jamal Crawford at 37. I don't know. That's just what I see. I think he's still got some juice left in the tank. I mean, he's not going to be your 22, 12, and 10 guy like he used to be. Or probably even, I think he even had more than that, like 25, 27. But I just don't think Jamal Crawford's always been kind of Good player, probably, but not like a splendid, like, big 27 a game kind of guy.
No, I agree, but Minnesota needs the scoring, but so that little
Well, and they need leadership, like a Kevin Garnett kind of guy that can kind of mentor these young guys and kind of tell them, this is what it is. This is what you need to do to play well. So
yeah, and I don't know. Well, either way, they'll definitely be better next year. That's for sure.
I'd be in living shock if they didn't make the playoffs next year. Because I think some people had them as like a 7 or an 8 this year, and they kind of
Yeah,
took a shit last year.
I had them as an 8, and then they were bad. They just lost
Which,
a lot of leads, and I think they led the league in double-digit leads lost, and they end up losing the game. But with Jimmy Butler and Crawford, and another year under the coach, they'll definitely be better. They'll win more of those games than they lose.
well, I think too with Tibbs. I think in Chicago, everyone's like, well, Tibbs was the guy that tore Derrick Rose's ACLs, blah 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 blah. He beat him up. It's like you would too if you had a player like Derrick Rose on your team. It's just like, I don't honestly think it was Tibbs. I think it was the Bulls organization. They want to see that franchise player, and I was glad to see last year that he got the second chance in Minnesota because I think he's one of those coach. He's a player's coach. He's not one of those guys like, obviously he got two of his Bulls guys to come to Minnesota. Like that's kind of a stepping stone as a coach that you get Taj Gibson back, you get Jimmy Butler back. Have those guys want to come to you. Because to be honest with you, I think everyone thought Jimmy Butler was going to go to Cleveland. Like everyone, I even remember seeing the headlines, like seeing, oh, Jimmy Butler to Minnesota. What am I like blind or something? I just was kind of shocked to see that Minnesota actually pulled the trigger on that. But
it was like, I didn't think it. I thought they tried to get him last year. Minnesota did, and then Chicago just said no. We'll just hold on to him, see where it goes, and then they just decided to pull the trigger a year later. But so I think that should just about do it for free agency. I think,
Yeah, I would say so. Really not much going else on sports unless you want to talk highly in depth about the All-Star game for baseball or the home run derby. You got any winners for the home run derby?
Yeah, I was just about to say before we get into our last few good minutes segment, we give our winners for the derby. I'll read off who we're going to see. It's Monday night, so tomorrow or today, whenever you're listening, I guess. It's Giancarlo Stanton. It's a bracket style. So you got eight batters, 1-8, all different seeds. So you got the 1 seed, Giancarlo Stanton, outfielder for the Marlins, the hometown Marlins, against the 8 seed Yankees catcher Gary Sanchez. The next matchup, you got the 4 seed Royals third baseman Mike Moustakas against Twins third baseman Miguel Sano. And then in the 3-6 matchup, you got the 3 seed Cody Bellinger for the hotshot Dodgers player against the Rockies outfielder Charlie Blackmon as the 6 seed. And then in the 2-7 matchup, you got 7 seed Justin Bour against the Wonder Kid, the Masher for the New York Yankees, Aaron Judge. So out of those 8, who you got?
You know, here's where I'm at. I mean, I know Stanton, he's playing in his hometown. I think he won it last year. I'm pretty sure, right? Um,
I couldn't tell
I
you who
think
won
I
last.
think he was the winner last year. I mean, obviously, I don't want to take a winner that already has won. Um, I'm curious to see how Sano does. I really don't think he'll win, but I guess if I'm going to go with the honest decision, I mean, Judge has been hitting the ball like nobody's business this year. I mean, I don't really watch Yankee baseball, but every time on Sports Center, all I hear is Judge, 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 homer, homer, homer. Like
Yeah,
that's all you see. And I mean, he's got just a ridiculous amount of home runs. I think he broke the Yankees like All-Star break record for homers already this year.
uh,
And I mean,
yeah, the rookie record
rookie
for
record. Yeah, but I mean, still, I mean, you're talking about the Yankees. You're not talking about like a bottom of the barrel organization. You're talking about the best of the best. And I mean, I think he probably will win it, and I think it would be good if he did win it because I mean, nobody likes to see the. It's just like nobody likes to see Cavs and Warriors in the finals all the time. You want to see a new
yeah.
winner. You want to see. I think Bellinger. I've seen him a little bit on Sports Center. He'd probably be my second pick. But I mean, it's just one of those things you got to figure out. Okay, Judge is probably the guy, but I mean, we've seen those guys that are like your home run leaders, absolutely choke in the Derby. So I mean, maybe Sano wouldn't be a bad pick because I mean, I know he's hit quite a few home runs this year, but you know, he's not given like unexpected or crazy expectations. Just go out there, crush the shit out of the ball, and really that's it.
All right, so you'll go with him. I'll take the upset pick. Shout out to my boy Dylan Larson, the Twins fan. Going Miguel Sano. I'm gonna pick him to win. Just fucking do it.
Hey Dylan, I'd like to see you on this podcast. I know you were
Yeah,
tweeted in as a contributor. I'd like to see you sometime soon, buddy. So jump
yeah.
on
Well,
in, especially since we have two absentee contributors tonight that don't feel
tonight
need to text or
would have been
anything.
perfect introduction.
Sure would.
So, Dylan, hopefully you'll listen to it, and then if Sano wins, I challenge you to come on for the next podcast. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the Twins. We'll maybe even dedicate a whole segment to the Twins if you end up coming on.
As long as you talk about Brian Dozier, that's fine.
Yeah. So there's our home run derby picks. We'll see who wins that one. All right. So we should probably wrap this up. You think? What have you with our few good minutes segment? What have you seen the last couple of weeks that you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, as far as baseball, Brewers are 5.5 games above everybody else in NL Central. Like, I'm not going to jump to conclusions because I know how the Brewers are. They've done this before. I've seen this before, many years before. So I'm not going to jump to conclusions. But I don't know about you, man, but the Cubs look like shit.
Dude, Brewers
Like,
trashed the Cubs.
Trash the Cubs.
Trashed
I don't know if you saw today's game, but I saw John Lester get rocked. He had like
He
10
gave up 10
runs in
runs
the first inning. Like, I mean, I thought the Cubs pitching staff was bad because I didn't see any All-Stars, and they had like Arrieta and Lester, and I can't remember the other guy's name. But they had those guys last year in the All-Star game doesn't really mean a whole lot, but it's still, I mean, it's the fans voting. So I mean, if you're Justin Bieber and the women love you, they'll vote for you. But I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, I don't know. I got a gut feeling. I'm not going to make any LeVar Ball predictions that Brewers going to playoffs or anything. But I think they have a good chance to at least get a wild card. I'm going to start with a wild card. I think that's realistic. In case we do go our usual ways and somewhat tank in the second half. I mean, as long as 5.5 games above, Cubs and Pirates have been kind of the teams last few years, so to kind
And
of
then
be
even the Cardinals, they're having a down year too.
yeah, it's a rebuilding year, and the Brewers are cashing in.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what the Brewers end up doing the next few weeks in the next last few months of the season after the All-Star break. But I will spend my minutes on the Canada basketball U19 team.
Hell.
Yeah, they the other day they upset the United States. John Calipari led United States team. RJ Barrett, the star player for the Canadian team, scored 38 points, and he's also the #1 recruit in the country. He'll be committing to a school later this year. He's got offers from the big schools like Duke, Kansas, Arizona, Kentucky, stuff like that, those kind of schools. Apparently Duke's the front runner. So watch out for him, not this coming college basketball season, but next year. Kid's 17 years old, and he's going to be a future top pick in the NBA draft. You can already tell.
Yeah.
And today they won gold for the first time in their program history. Future Canadian basketball is bright. I'll tell you that.
How long have they been a program?
Well, shit, they've for a long time, but they just.
I want to make sure it's ancient history, not it was 5 years ago.
No, it's pretty ancient. I mean, but how many other countries, not the United States, end up winning?
True.
So
how much you want to bet Calipari is going to increase his recruiting strategies to land that kid at UK?
Oh, I would if I was him, especially if you're a U.S. coach. You just saw him drop 38 on you.
Your ass
in the handshake line. I'd be saying, "I'm not leaving till you commit to Kentucky. What do I got to do to get you?"
All right. Well, how many Mercedes Benzes do I got to send you in order to land you at UK?
Yeah, just let me open up that payroll.
Yeah, seriously, because I've been a liability to every university I've been in. I was a liability at UMass. I was a liability at Memphis, and I'm going to be a liability. I'm telling you, Rick Pitino's on the hot seat right now at Louisville. I'm telling you, there's going to be a 30-30 in 10 years or less.
Oh, for sure.
On Kentucky college basketball, just some sort of recruiting violations. It's going to be a story about University of Louisville and University of Kentucky. It's just going to be just awesome. I'm just going to enjoy every second of it.
At least Louisville, because we need a 30 for 30 just on that stripper story alone.
Oh, God, I hear so much of that on these. I listen to these buffoons on sports talk radio, and it's like, and then I listen to shout out to Big Cat from Pardon My Take. Went on Kentucky sports radio, like UK basketball, blood, and just ripped them apart. And it was talking highly of all these, all these UK callers. And he's like, "Oh, really? What happened in that 38-0 game? Because I found out the other day that Big Cat was a UW grad, so." Yep. To hear him go on Big Blue Radio and just trash the Cats, just fucking love it. I just freaking had to listen to every second of it.
It's always a good listen. And so, unless there's something else you want to talk about, I think we'll wrap things up right now.
Everyone go check out afewgoodmics.com. I got a new article that was posted regarding Big Baller Nation. If you ain't a big baller, you're going to be weak. So, check out my article. I want to give a shout out to Lonzo Ball and his freak show of a father. So check out that article, and I think y'all will like it. So peace.
Yeah, there you go. Go ahead, check that out. Check out afewgoodmics.com, the official new website. We'll have new stuff coming out all the time. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. Hopefully, we'll get the whole crew back next week, but
Debatable.
in the meantime, we'll keep going, just us two, if we need to.
Hey, if you're the CEO, you need to start firing people.
If you got obligations, you got obligations. I'll miss the occasional episode because I got to work. But
I know, but that's understandable. You'll at least text people and say, "Hey, I got to work." You're not like freaking an absentee voter. Like, well, I'm gonna complain about who wins the election, but I'm not gonna vote. So, Mike and Garb, you missed out this week. You guys suck.
And with that, thanks for listening. See you next time.